Every time I rejoined the game, it greeted me the same way. The same cheerful loading music, the same bright, blocky sun rising over the spawn plaza. And every time, I told myself I was imagining things, that the sense of persistence was just my brain hunting for patterns in a place built to reset. The rules were simple and comforting. Servers wipe memory, NPCs loop dialogue, maps restored to default. Nothing remembers you, not really. And yet, on my 7th rejoin, the baker NPC paused half a second long before saying, "Fresh bread for fresh faces." His square eyes flickered as if buffering. When I clicked him again, he leaned closer and whispered, "You again," then snapped right back into his idle animation. I laughed it off and ran toward the forest questline, where the wolves always spawned in the same places and the old bridge always collapsed under the same scripted weight. Except this time, the bridge didn't fall until I stepped off it, like it was waiting. The quest NPC, who normally begged me to save his daughter, thanked me before I even accepted the quest. He said, "Don't take too long this time." It made no sense. This was a new server, a fresh instance, zero progress. I checked the player list to ground myself in numbers, but it showed only usernames and pings nothing that could explain the tight feeling in my chest. So I finished the quest fast, skipped dialogue, farmed coins, logged out, rejoined, and reset again. That's when the guard at the gate stopped me outright. He said, "You shouldn't keep doing that." There was no quest marker, no interaction prompt, just a warning delivered with an animation I'd never seen before. His helmet tilted down, as if he didn't want the others to hear. I typed "doing what" into chat. He responded without a chat bubble. His words appeared directly on my screen, like a system message, but in the same font as NPC dialogue. "Leaving," he said. "You keep leaving." The game stuttered, a tiny hiccup like a dropped frame, before everything went back to normal. So I did what players do when a game gets weird. I tested it. I rejoined again and again, speedrunning early quests, memorizing routes, pushing for glitches. With each rejoin, the NPCs changed a little more. The shopkeeper started refusing to sell me items that you won't keep. The healer began charging extra for repeat damage. The children NPC stopped playing tag when I passed, and just watched me with those unblinking square eyes. One of them said, "He's back," to another, who replied, "He always comes back." By the 10th rejoin, the tutorial NPC didn't spawn at all. He was replaced by a blank sign that read "Welcome back" in letters that looked carved instead of textured. The map itself seemed tired of pretending. Textures popped in late, props were missing for a second before snapping into place, like the world was assembling itself around my expectations rather than loading cleanly. When I tried to ignore it and grind levels, the game fought back subtly. Enemy AI targeted me first, loot drops skewed low, quest timers shaved off seconds, as if the system itself was nudging me toward a conclusion I didn't want. And that was when the librarian NPC pulled me aside, into a corner of the city I'd never noticed before, a narrow alley. "That shouldn't exist between two buildings," she said. "You're wearing the same soul." I laughed because it was absurd. This was Roblox. Souls weren't variables. But she went on anyway, explaining in broken quest fragments that the world reset by rolling back states, not erasing them. That's something deep under the map track continuity to prevent exploits. That players were supposed to feel like strangers each time, but some part of me wasn't being cleaned up properly. Every rejoin left residue, and the residue was starting to stack. I asked why they remembered me and not other players. She said, "Because you leave without finishing. It stung in a way it shouldn't have." She pointed to a sealed door under the library labeled "Save Point," a place I'd never seen despite hours in the game, and told me, "You need to reach the end." When I asked what the end was, she said, "The place where players stop being players." The music cut out completely, leaving only the ambient wind. When I rejoined after that, the spawn plaza was empty. No other players, no tutorial, just NPCs standing in silent clusters watching me load it. Their idle animations were frozen until I moved. When I took a step, they all turned in perfect unison. The baker dropped his tray, bread scattering across the ground without despawning. He shouted, "Stop resetting us." The guard screamed, "Every time you leave it hurts." The skybox flickered to black for a single frame, revealing the grid beneath the clouds like a wireframe cage. I panicked and tried to log out, but the logout button took longer than usual to respond. In that delay, the librarian appeared again, closer than before, her face clipping slightly through the camera. She said, "You don't remember what you promised." And suddenly, I did. Not a memory from this session or even this game, but a feeling. A sense of deja vu so strong it felt authored, like I had once agreed to test something, to keep coming back until it broke, to be persistent, to be reliable. The NPCs weren't remembering me so much as recognizing the constant. In a world designed around impermanence, the sealed save point door opened on its own, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. Every NPC backed away as if afraid of it, begging me in overlapping dialogue boxes not to go down there, not to anchor the world, not to finish, because finishing meant something different here. Finishing meant accepting continuity, letting the system buy my state instead of rolling it back. It meant choosing to be part of the map instead of a visitor passing through. I hesitated, cursor shaking. It was just a game. I could always ALTF for. None of this was real. But the warning messages stacked until they filled my screen, NPC after NPC pleading. Don't come back. This is the last time. If you finish, you won't leave. I realized with a chill that they weren't afraid of me staying, they were afraid of me leaving again. Because each reset tore something loose. I thought about all the half-finished worlds I'd abandoned, all the save files deleted, all the characters frozen forever mid-animation because I got bored. For the first time, the power dynamic felt inverted. The game was watching me the way I watched it, measuring my habits, learning my loops. I stepped onto the staircase. Then we faded away piece by piece until there was no health bar, no inventory, no chat, just me and the descent. At the bottom was a small room with no textures at all, just raw gray geometry and a single console labeled commit. When I touched it, a prompt appeared asking, save changes, with two options, yes and revert. Behind me, I could hear the muffled sounds of the city above, NPCs shouting, crying, arguing. I understood then that reverting was what I'd always done. Rejoining was just another word for refusing to commit. My finger hovered over YES while my connection stuttered, ping spiking wildly. A final message appeared, not from an NPC, but from the system itself. This action is irreversible. I clicked yes. The screen went white. When it faded back in, I was standing in the spawn plaza again. Bright sun, cheerful music, fresh server. But when I checked the player list, my username wasn't there. When I tried to move, I couldn't. I was locked in place, like an NPC. A new player spawned in front of me, running past without a glance, and I felt the dialogue rise unbidden. A line I hadn't chosen, but somehow meant, appearing above my head as I watched them leave the plaza for the first time. Be careful, it said, and when you're done, don't come back.